How's everybody doing? I do hope you all had a good, happy, safe 4th, and just remembered those who gave us our freedom, said some prayers for them and those who continue to. So, but what Bobby and I are going to talk, we're going to kind of split tonight. We have another bad storm here, so hopefully we don't lose electricity, but we're going to talk about follow up and then follow through. And he's got a great example of the follow through. And I think that's probably something we don't talk enough about. But Wednesday night, we do have another launch, 8:30. I know a lot of you had requested that we do another launch. It's a great way. We can really see our business exploding doing these launches. So again, that's Wednesday night at 8:30. And, our main goal for all of us is to make sure that we continue to invite people on those launches. And so, there's a few things, Bobby and I've talked about recently is, one, everybody's kind of getting open again, back open. People are out talking to people again. And I was out watching some fireworks last night and bumped into a girl that I didn't know. And we started talking and, we've been going back and forth all day. She in the Facebook group for Lifespan Matters. And I just sent her the link to be able to purchase product and stuff. So, people and leads, and that's mostly what we look to when we think about the launch on Wednesday night, is just getting new leads and how we're going to get new leads. And so, it's not always about new leads. And this is kind of what I want to go over tonight, because we all spent a lot of time. June was month of action. We all spent a lot of time in the app, some more than others. A lot of you have a lot of people from the app. And just because you reached out to them once and maybe they responded to you, maybe they didn't, I don't really know if they did or didn't, but it's never a dead lead. And this is where the touches come in. You hear us talk about touches, but maybe you think about they're always in a positive way. And I'll tell you another example that I had, met a guy on Facebook. And actually it started, we were talking about pickleball. We went back and forth. His profile caught my attention because he was at New Zealand. So I was in a pickleball group. He said he was from New Zealand. We went back and forth a number of times. And he actually did Relive, if you remember that company, a bunch of years ago. It's a long time ago and stuff. But so he had kind of a negative taste about, multi-level marketing or network marketing to begin with. So we went back and forth a number of times, and he's looked at the product. He's just where I'm not going anywhere. But, I could say that was the end of that lead. But you know what I do? It's never the end of a lead. You always have options. And one of the other options you can do is you can either get their phone number, their email, or you can put them into one of the Facebook groups, whether it be a business group for him or for a product group or whatever. So, that's really what I want to talk about. Your leads are never old. So we went through the app and we spent a lot of time in the app inviting people, but I bet a lot of those people you didn't hear back from, because, when I hear the number of videos that went out, wasn't a lot of videos. So what do you think? What do you think? You've sent, here's the secret. You want to know more about the secret, invite to somebody and they don't respond. One of the things that I do all the time is, if I do not hear back from somebody, I always date my leads when I contact them 7 days out. I always, regardless, it doesn't matter how I met them, if I met them in person, if I met them on Facebook, or they were already in my phone as a personal contact, I always send a message out again 7 days out. So maybe you take an Excel sheet, and I'm going to expand on this, but 7 days out, I would say to them, did you see my last message? And so my thoughts are, as we go through this, people rarely, if almost never, will say no to you twice. So, if they ignore you once, they're going to feel really bad about ignoring you twice. And so that's why doing this follow-up, hey, did you see my last text or my last message or whatever it is so important. So our last launch, if you remember, was exactly a week ago. So all chances are you probably sent them a message about this time last week. Well, if you didn't hear back from them, go through your phone easily. I mean, you can just go back to your phone to last Monday, Tuesday night and see, who you sent these messages out to. and you can send them again. So, and if they get back to you and, you just say, no worries, we got another great event Wednesday night, or if it was, through the app and it was a secret and you're going back later, that's great. We have an event Wednesday night. You're always just selling them on the next event. So, your follow-up should look like when you're reaching out to people, it should be, like I have different columns for mine. So, maybe some got back to you right away. Maybe some sent the video. Maybe some you moved along, you sent them a video, but you didn't hear from them. So again, mark that out 7 days, and do some follow-up there. There's a lot of ways that we can be clever about our follow-up and not just accept because a person didn't get back to us. It's so important that we continue to follow up with people. And again, you've heard us from time and time again. It may just be the fact that the timing wasn't good for them, or maybe they genuinely missed it. I know, there are times where I've missed, today I just got a message from somebody and, she was kind of like, what, with question mark, because I didn't get back to her. So it does happen that people do. So don't always think it's you, but, that's how you get people to look at, what we're doing here and either getting on a launch or seeing that ABC video. So, you can do 7 days out, you can do 30 days out, you can do 60 days out. That's what I do. And like this guy today, just want to get them in a Facebook group, if nothing else. So you can collect phone numbers, you can collect emails, you can move somebody along 7 days, 30 days, 60 days. You can put them in a Facebook group. Our group here is totally underutilizing our Lifespan Matters group. And I can tell you personally, and Bobby can tell you personally, we've had a lot of people that have reached back out to me after we put them in 3 months, 6 months, a year later, because all of a sudden some post in there caught their attention. The timing was right. Maybe they saw enough at that point, and then all of a sudden, they were asking a question. And, luckily for me, Bobby usually sees most of the questions that come through and says, have you talked to so-and-so lately? So people can fall through the cracks, but if we're not spending the time to move them along, put them in that Facebook group, be active in the Facebook group, I can see the numbers that go in each week. We do a welcome post and stuff. If you're not being active in there and you're not dripping on people in that group, shame on you. It's the easiest way. So if somebody said they got back to you and they weren't interested in the video, they weren't interested in the secret, or, you followed up with them day 7 and they're like, the timing's not good, or I'm busy or whatever. Great. Can I put you in my Facebook group, and just say that it's a great group, lots of testimonies, lots of science. You got to sell the group a little bit, but people will never say no to you twice. And that's what I want you to really keep in mind. They're not going to say no. People don't like to say no. And so that's the reason why most of the time nobody gets back to you, is because they don't want to have to say no. So it's kind of silly on their part. They're thinking, if I ignore the message, she won't know. Well, that's kind of crazy too. So, it's the psychology behind the whole thing. So then when you call them out on it a second time, whether you know them or not, it can be as cold a person as you met. It could be a cold Facebook lead from some group that you were in for 2 seconds, or if you just picked a random name. People hate to say no twice. So take advantage of that. Hey, did you see my last message? If they have not gotten back to you, if they got back to you and took the video, the ABC video, and you've been ghosted since, they just, hey, did you see that's what I do. You've heard me say before I do the takeaway. So, I may follow up with them 30, 60, 90 days, whatever. But then, at some point I will say to them, hey, I don't want to be a pest. If you're not interested, I will remove you from my list. Well, that always is like an earthquake with people. People get really upset about being, and I don't know why, and I don't even know what they think the list is. But people don't like to be removed from the list. It's just, I don't know what it is. So, again, make sure that you're continuing out with these people, not just if they don't get back to you, ask them, hey, did you see my message? Once you've had a little conversation, it's not moving how you want, maybe they've looked at the ABC video and you've had a little banter back and forth and you don't seem to be getting anywhere with them right then, right there. Put them in the Facebook group. Let the Facebook group do the work for you so that, they can continually get dripped on the product. Don't ever just take a no, because you know what, to me, a no has always been lack of information. So again, some of these touches, when we talk about, again, when it was person to person, it was a whole lot easier. Now when we're doing everything over Zooms and excuse me, with text messaging and stuff, it may take you a few more, but if you really want the person and you're thinking about, this is a person, and I'm going to have Bobby tell you what went on with him in a few minutes. But there's a method to this, getting these people involved and seeing something even at a customer level is huge. This can be a really, really big business, but you can't just buy everybody's line. You just can't do that. So you've got to continue to follow up and give them the information, because and you've got to agree with me, this is the best business there is in the world out there, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we have time freedom. We can make as much money as we want. There really isn't a downside, especially if you want to be, in your own business, self-employed, unlike traditional businesses, no overhead. We can go on and all this stuff. So this is the best business in the world, but most people don't know it. They either think that we want them to sell product, or they think it's just recruiting. They don't realize that, we're really offering a gift to people. They don't really realize. So whatever the last person did to them is what they're stuck on. So it really is our job to show them what a great industry this is. And sometimes people can be a little bit thick and they don't always understand, and they have these preconceived ideas. So if you continue to do the follow-up with people and kind of call them on the bluff of ghosting you or not answering you and just saying, hey, did you see my last message? You'll see. And then, if you're not getting anywhere and they're still ghosting you, just say, hey, I'm going to remove you from my list, and that'll go there. So, I just want you to do more follow-up as we go to this launch party. And I want you to think about everybody you invited last Monday, Tuesday night. So again, Wednesday, again, we're going to do another launch. Go back to everyone you invited for last Monday, Tuesday, revisit them, see if they responded to you, or if they missed it, rebook them on this one, send them that message. Hey, did you see my last message? And then add some. And now you've upped your chances, your percentage of having more people on the Zoom or the launch party on Wednesday night. So, but I'm going to have Bobby come sit, and, he's got a great story that he's going to tell you. And I said one of the things we're going to talk about is follow-up, but there's also follow-through. And so, that's one of the things we haven't spent enough time with, as far as, we're out looking for customers, but there's a reason we're looking for that customers. I don't want you to say or think, and I know sometimes it's exciting to get a customer in the beginning, and you think, I got this customer, this is my goal for this person, is to get them on product. There's really a method to our madness from that. And this story that Bobby has to tell is perfect for this. And I know you're really going to enjoy this, but think about this, that it's not the end, just getting a customer. It is so much more. Getting a customer is just the start. We could tell you quite a few of these stories, but this one was absolutely perfect and still is perfect. So I'm going to let him join us. Okay. Thanks for your time.
Hey everyone, and ditto on that. Happy 4th, and hope you had a great 4th of July. We did, and but yeah, I had a really cool morning. You've heard me talk about my baseball player friend that played for the Mets. Well, he gave me about 10 people, to reach out to me in April. So I gave the women to April. I took the guys, and it's long distance. He's in Iowa. Most of his friends are in Iowa. Somewhere in New York. Okay, so it's long distance, but follow this one. This one is just, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, so I'm talking to this gentleman that he gives me, and I hadn't sent samples to him yet for Turk. Turk's the baseball player, so I hadn't sent samples. But we've been going back and forth. He had watched some videos and he was ready to order, and he wanted the fat burn and he wanted the Axio. Okay. So, anything to get the person started, and you develop, you go from there. So we were talking and I sent him the link to buy it. Okay. And he said, hey, you're in Florida, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, this is late last week. This is probably, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, late last week. And I said, well, we're just outside of Orlando on the, the Daytona side, but just outside the city on the northeast side. And he said, well, I'm going to be down for a week with my family, my wife and kids. And we're going to be in Winter Haven. Any chance you want to meet? And I said, well, sure, and I knew I had to go straight past my dad's house. My dad's 85, lives by himself. I visit him 2 or 3 times a week. So I said, this is great. I can go check on my dad. I could go meet him. His name's Lou. I could go meet him for the first time. All good, okay? And the meeting was this, okay? I was just going to get him on the products for Turk, okay? And just keep earning Turk's trust, okay? That I'm worthy of giving leads to, that I'll do the right thing with them. Well, we agree on that. And the next day I get a friend request on Facebook. Okay. And it's from Lou. Okay. The guy that I'm meeting on Monday, which was this morning. So I accept his friend request and I start looking and I'm like, wow, this guy's really interesting. And I saw him playing basketball and it looked like it was professional. And Facebook, you can take a deep dive on anybody on Facebook. Okay. And I noticed he was an executive, at a bank. I don't know if he was handling, big clients' money or what, but he was an executive at a bank. He had a wife, 2 kids. And I'm like, this is interesting. And he had over 4,000 friends, on Facebook. And I didn't even get a chance to look at his Instagram account, but I'm like, wow, this is not what I expected. Okay. And we're all guilty of prejudging. So I'm just as human as you guys are. Okay. So we decided to meet at Starbucks over in Winter Haven. Okay. And I get there and for some reason you couldn't go in the lobby. It said the lobby was open, but I sit down outside. Now I brought a lot of samples. Okay. Because the guy hadn't even used the product yet. He was going to buy product. And the lobby's closed. So I'm sitting at a table outside and I see him pull up and he gets out of his car and he knows I told him I had a blue Jeep. You won't be able to miss it. And, so I'm sitting outside and he gets out of his car and he's a giant. I mean, and again, he's talking to me about losing weight and I'm looking at a guy that's probably 6'10" that doesn't have an ounce of fat on his body. I'm like, what the heck? What's going on here? This guy looked like a pro athlete. So one thing I got to share with you, and those of you that have experienced, you know exactly what I mean. I'll never forget, it was just a few months back at Marco Island at an elite retreat that we met a lady named Kristen Bailey. Okay. And some of you may have met her. Okay. And April and I met her for the first time, and she's friends with Angie Harper, who's a pro 8, Kristen's pro 7. And we remember leaving Kristen, and I said, I have never met anybody that exuded more likability than Kristen. I mean, it was just unbelievable. You could just feel it, the likability factor. She was off the charts. Well, I share that with you because of Lou. When I met him today, his likability factor was off the charts. I mean, I had never met a male person that made me feel that way from a likability standpoint. And I mean, it was after like 1 minute. I mean, 1 minute, okay? He came here as a teenager from Seneca, West Africa. He had a scholarship to Drake University, okay? He ended up staying in Des Moines, Iowa, and he's like the mayor of the town. Everybody knows him. He's been there 20 years. He knows everybody, and they only know him by his first name. They don't even use his last name. It's like Madonna. Well, it's a Lou, okay? I mean, it's unbelievable. So I have my laptop there. I'm on Starbucks Wi-Fi, and I said, okay, I got the Fapron here. I got the Axio here. I said, when you use the product and he samples a little bit, I said, are you open to talking business and making some money? And he looks, he says, absolutely. And he said, I'm planning on making a lot of money with this. And I said, well, if that's okay, why don't we just enroll you as a distributor now? I said, we'll get, because I had given him samples of Tri-Synergizer, Axio. I had brought hair care samples, skincare samples for his wife. You know, I was loading him up. Okay. Once I saw his Facebook profile, I was going to load him up with stuff. And I said, look, the Tri-Synergizer, the skincare, and the Axio is in the silver package. Why don't you just sign up now and we'll add a fat burn to it? And I said, you'll be in the business and we can get your website set up, your app downloaded on your phone. And when you get back to Des Moines, we'll go at it. And he says, I'm going to have you come out. He says, I can fill a huge room for you. He said, we'll do seminars, we'll do meetings. He said, I mean, was going on and on. And I'm like, and I thought I was meeting someone to help him order a bottle of fat burn. This guy has every intention of building a huge business. He's only 38 years old, okay? Very, very connected on social media, is obviously still has a lot of family back in West Africa, but has been in Des Moines for 20 years now, 22 years, and everyone in town knows him. He was a star player on their basketball team, and he stayed, and now he's a bank executive, plays a lot of golf, does a lot of things. You never know. He's been texting me all day. Okay, I have him in the training group now and stuff. You never know. Okay, and here's what I want to share with you. My baseball player friend, Turk, never even considered that he'd be interested in the business. This guy got Turk's girlfriend a job at his bank. Okay, Turk just figured he did so well and he knew so many people, he wouldn't be looking for anything else. So he just said the guy's always looking to lose weight and have energy. So he just talking about the product, figured the guy buy the product. You never know. Okay. And I was listening to April in the other room, and I'm telling you, you just never know until you meet somebody. And like I said, this guy's likability factor was like none I'd ever had before with meeting another male person. And it just reminded me of a few months back when we met Kristen, and you know, so take what April said for, you know, at face value. I'm telling you, this business is amazing. Everybody wants it. Everybody needs it. Just some people don't know about it yet. They just don't know. Okay. And this guy is not someone that like had a tragedy, down on his luck, or not. It's nothing like that. He just sees he's got a huge social media presence. He's got a huge warm market. He's probably never cashed in on it or done anything with all the friends. He says, you have no idea who I know. He said, they only use my first name in town. Nobody even knows my last name is. It's just a Lou. And I said, well, we're going to have fun together and we can make a lot of money together. And he's just like, yeah, man, you know, got a little bit of an accent there, but anyway, you'll see his picture. He took a picture. We weren't there a minute. He says, let's get a selfie and shoot it over to Turk and show him that we're hanging out together and I'm signing up. And, you know, he just started right from the get-go. So you never know. Okay. I went there planning on getting a customer. I mentioned the business. He was interested in the business. 2 minutes later, he was enrolling with a silver pack, and we just added the fat burn to it, and away we go. Okay, so anyway, I hope that's helpful. We're excited about Wednesday night. And don't forget, Saturday is the Elite Academy, okay? But Wednesday night is our launch Zoom. It's your launch Zoom. Claim it, own it, it's yours, like you're hosting it. And let's make sure everybody has their own personal guest on it this week, okay? Anyway, have a great night, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the story, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.